Testing. All right. Just playing around with the Composer 1.5 right now. See if I can build a really basic top-down game. Yeah, my microphone, like a Shure, I don't know what it's called, SM7B or something like that. What's up, Super? How you doing? I'm kind of investigating something called marching squares. It's like an algorithm you can use to have like, as long as you make your tiles in this type of format, it's very easy to algorithmically render them out. But this will take me so long to do myself. Because I don't know how to do pixel art, I need to find something else to do on a stream because me sitting around for 2 hours trying to draw pixels isn't going to be it. So I found this pixel pack, and I'm just trying to load it in. I got this tile floor set, and it'd be nice if I could kind of load this in and render out some basic grass tiles. forget how to use this. How do I use this tool? Paint picker. Pencil is B. How do I change the size of this? All right, 4. How big are my tiles? Are they 32? Yeah, they're 32 by 32. All right, good enough for now. So now I need to actually add in a camera system and a user input system. When I press WASD, I want to pan the camera up for W, left for A, right for D, down for S. Position the camera at the center of the screen, and when the game loads, it should be 0, 0. Yeah, pretty good. Can you set up a scene system? I want the first scene to show a new game button. When I click it, it should then take me to the next scene, which has the actual game in this input system. Let me go to here. Let's go to other. File sizes. How are the vibes with Composer 1.5? I think it's slower, but it's more accurate. I haven't tried I don't know what aerospace is. I haven't tried it. I mean, I like it. Composer 1.5 is pretty nice. There's kind of like two ways I do agentic coding. Sometimes I'll just use Claude Code and just like do a giant prompt and let it implement everything. But when I'm actually like, when I'm concerned about the code and I care about the project and understanding it, I would rather use Composer. I just feel like you can do iterative development much better with it. But I don't know. I feel like all these models are just going to consolidate into high quality models and it won't even matter. Like, but let's see if I can get this. I have a squares PNG. So let's go back to the game real quick. So in the map, I want you to add a layer for buildings. And I want you to add in a town hall and a watchtower and render those out into the screen just with some arbitrary colors for the whole tile and maybe some text inside of it so I know. And then I will not prompt it yet. Let me just see what this can do. My goal right now is I want to bring in the marching squares algorithm with this squares.pmg. It might be a little bit too small, so we'll have to see. How big is this? It is get info. Doesn't really tell me the resolution. $128 divided by 4, so that's 32 a pop. Okay, yeah, I think that's fine. Why are there 4 town halls? Does the town hall take up 2 slots? Instead of rendering 4 different town hall texts, it should just be one town hall that takes up the 4 slots and find a way to make it all render out one giant brown rectangle with one label sitting in the center. Okay. And then what I want to do is I want to use this new squares PNG Might make a new agent for this. I'm gonna add. Put these somewhere else. Let me rename this the Ninja. Put this at the top level. Git ignore it. I want you to use the marching squares algorithm and load in the squares.png. That will be my 16 tiles. And then I want you to automatically render roads to connect buildings. So for example, the map has a town hall and a tower. I want you to connect those the best way possible, probably by using some type of A-star algorithm or breadth first search to find the minimum path between them, and then use the marching squares algorithm to render out the map so that we have roads that connect all the buildings automatically. Let's see what this can do. I might go back and undo that. The tiles. I thought I had an image or something. Grass? Oh, here it is, grass. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just started using Composer 1.5, so I can't really tell. I will say Composer 1.5 is definitely slower than Composer 1, which is kind of disappointing. More accurate. Seems like I don't have to keep on reprompting it so many times. But I mean, I wonder like if it's going to be slower, what's the point of me using it versus just using Opus 4.6, you know? But I mean, like so far, it seems like it's able to implement most of the things I asked, like first try. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a bunch more random buildings. Because I think this is working correctly. It's just my tile sheet is not very seamless, so it just looks like trash. But there's two things I want to kick off. I do want the ability to zoom in and zoom out. Add the ability to zoom in and zoom out with the mouse wheel. And I'm going to do another one, and I'm going to say, add in a couple of example buildings that you might think would be necessary for a base building RTS survival game. And lay them out randomly in the sample.json. So I can test out the marching squares algorithm a little bit better. Let these run, I guess. What's up? What's up? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I mean, everything I prompted, it just like one-shots it, so it's pretty good. I don't know how it compares to the other models, but I can zoom in, I can zoom out. I will say the zooming is a little bit, it could be smoothed out, so I should probably go back to the zoom. Find a way to slow down and also smooth out the zoom, and then add a max and a min zoom configuration. Try to make all the configuration of my game data-driven inside of a JSON file or a .js file somewhere, so I don't have to dive in the multiple files to figure out how to customize what's going on. Oh, it looks like it's already clamped. But yeah, I think having like a centralized config file would be a little bit better. I'm trying to use some of the things I learned from building out the Survive the Night game as I build out a fresh game with HTML5, so I don't kind of fall into the same pitfalls. Okay, a little bit smooth, that's good. So I can see right here, it's connecting this medical bay to the turret. And the pathing is going like this. Watchtower goes to the barracks. Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, it's working pretty good. So let's just, let me just add everything actually. Just like doing stuff, whatever. Add in a add in a build menu. When I press B, actually, what do I want to do here? Do I want like a red alert build menu? Or like a Warcraft 3 build menu? Do a red alert, why not? Add a build menu similar to red alert on the right. Add in a build menu similar to like red alert, where we have all the structures that a person can build on the right, and we can scroll through them and click on a structure to select it. And then we can place that anywhere on the map and then have that automatically update the tile map using the marching squares algorithm to connect them. I go to data and go to maps. Where's the tile sheet? Oh, config. Why is my JSON messed up? Just convert this to a JS file. And due to this, nothing's in TypeScript. I might refactor this to use TypeScript before it gets too out of hand. Can I delete that file? What's going on? I literally can't delete this file. There we go. When I have a building selected from the build menu and I hover over the tiles, it should show an overlay as to where that building will take up the tiles. Also add in logic to prevent dropping a building if there's no space in that area to build. For example, the town hall is 2x2. I shouldn't be able to place that in a tile if the exact 2x2 is not available or free. What speech to text app am I using? I'm using Super Whisper. I haven't tried Codex 3.5.3 Spark yet. Nope. AI is horrible at making games. I would say define horrible because I guess it depends on what you're making, you know? Why can't I put it here? It's kind of weird. Is there like an invisible barrier on the outside of the map you can't put stuff? Almost like a 3x3. Is there some type of padding on the map that I cannot place buildings around? Oh, it's probably this. The zeros? Data, ground. 1 is buildable grass. 0 is non-buildable. Water rocks. Okay. Everything should be buildable. Add a resource system where I can track food, wood, in supply, kind of like Warcraft 2 or StarCraft 2. Display that at the top somewhere. Oh, do I have that Kanban board thing running? That. Food, wood. So we can use wood for building structures. Food. Help me ideate a good resource system for a RTS base builder type of game. I want buildings to take resources. I want certain buildings to gather resources like a workshop or wood shop can gather wood. Probably add a resource for stone, kind of like Age of Empires. Supply could be like housing, maybe. What is that? D Helm ID8. Interesting. Seems good. Kind of want to fix the tearing. I don't know why there's like a... I'm noticing that there's like some... Take a screenshot actually. I'm noticing when rendering out the game, there's like tearing happening between my tiles. This is usually when you're like trying to render floating point numbers. Check if the camera system is not properly rounding to whole numbers when trying to render out the tiles at certain locations. We should probably just floor them all or round them all or something. Look up the best practices for fixing this type of bug. I'm using Super Whisper. Where's your face? I'm just don't want to be on camera tonight, honestly. I want to code. Ooh. For those of you who don't know, being on a stream is, you know, sometimes a little taxing. All right, let's see if this added in. So we added in. Wait, what's still running? Oh, the tearing. Okay. Okay, this is still happening. I don't know if it's because my tile map. Probably not. So this is where I might actually kick it into like codecs. This still seems to be happening, especially when I zoom in and zoom out. Can you double check what might be going on? Right, but we added in a resource system. And now that we have all these things, oh, I should be able to delete. Let me make sure I can delete resources. Add the ability to click on a structure that's already placed in the game, and that should show a panel near the structure and like a popover or something that allows me to sell it. I should get back percentage of the resources that was used to build it when I sell it, and it should free up the tiles when I sell that structure. What the heck? Add the ability to click on a structure that's already placed on the map, and then I should be able to sell it. Add a little modal or diagram close to that structure that I clicked on, because I do plan to add in more stats to display near that clicked thing. I might actually plan this one out. Okay, that fixed the tearing. Did that actually fix it though? Hey, what's up, Razmik? How's it going? Hope you've been doing well. Why not use Automaker for this? You know, I've been playing around with Automaker and making derivatives of Automaker, and I found that it's just not fun. It's not fun just loading up a backlog with a bunch of items and then letting it run, because you come back, you have like 500,000 files. Okay, not 500,000, but you have like a ton of files. You have no idea what is going on in the code. There's no intellectual control over your code. And it just takes the joy out of building. Like, at least what I'm doing right here with Composer, you're still somewhat in the loop. You're still making decisions. But Automaker is just, it's not it in my opinion. And I find myself always going back to just using terminals and just using cursor. Maybe it's because that's just what I'm used to. There's something just feels nicer about using Claude Code in these like cat panels versus using a Kanban board. I'm not really sure what to do with Automaker. I don't want to work on it anymore. So I might just like get it to version 1 and then put like a warning that it's no longer being maintained. But it was too much work. I think that was one reason why I got burned out. It was too much work maintaining that project. People just wanted to add in a bunch of features that I had no desire to add in. And then it grew to like 150,000 lines of code. And I'm like, yeah, this is not what I had in mind. But it's fun to work on. Fun little project. I might restructure it. Can you start the game out with no structures now so that I can choose where I put my town hall and then try to balance the resources so that I can at least put a town hall and a lumber mill or workshop or whatever it's called, and then slowly start being able to build more things. Like I want to test out the actual mechanics in the gameplay balancing. And I'll put that in a new agent. Which one was the selling? Resource system for RTS base builder. Was it this one? Yeah. Display how much money I'll get back for selling the resource inside the sell button. Am I doing anything with Ralph or Claude Code Teams OpenClaw for your course? I probably won't dive into OpenClaw. I haven't even paid attention to it. Ralph potentially. I know the Ralph plugin in Claude Code could be potentially useful. Agent Teams, I'll dive into that soon to try to check it out. I'll probably finish up a video about... I took Automaker and I made a simpler version called Autoboard, and I'll probably use that in my course to kind of talk about autonomous agents and how you can run this all night to have it build stuff out. But yeah, the whole autonomous stuff, it's cool if you have a really good understanding of exactly what you want built. You know, like really good PRDs and diagrams and stuff. Or if you want to clone an existing app, I think that's when it's really good to like use a Ralph loop or use Automaker and stuff, because you know exactly what you want. Like I want to clone Facebook and you can just let it run for a long period of time. I just find at some point, like if you're not stopping it and checking the app that's being built, the user experience is usually kind of bad. How much wood do I? Wood is... I also want to build out a... You need to also build out a tech dependency tree for these structures. So for example, you can't build a watchtower until you have a barracks. You can't build anything until you have a town hall, etc. Plan out a really good hierarchy of this dependency graph and encode that somewhere. All right, so town hall unlocks barracks, storage depot, generator, workshop, stone quarry. Barracks is watchtower, turret, medical bay. Cool. When I click on the barracks, I want to be able to build a unit. Plan out the ability to build things from these structures. And then when a unit is built, I want to be able to be commanded to walk somewhere using A-star algorithm. Make sure it doesn't walk into existing tiles that are already taken up. This will be a big one. We'll see how this one does. Yeah, I won't lie. So far, Composer 1.5 is my favorite. Like, I don't know what it is. It's basically one-shotting every feature I ask, and it runs so much faster than these other models. I really think they should open source their models so you can use them from like an API. Or sorry, not open source them, but like, you know how Claude Code and stuff, like you can use Opus from their API. Like, I think Cursor needs to do that. I think. Wait, have I been kicking this stuff on auto mode? No, I haven't been. All right. All right, I might have to refactor everything to TypeScript now. The game has reached a certain level of critical mass where I think it's good to stop and let the agent refactor and improve code, pull out magic numbers, make it more data driven before it gets too large, because now you're just building on top of slop, basically. But not too bad. 50 minutes in, we have a nice little prototype. We can build the town hall. Oh, after building it, I should unselect it. After placing, well, do I want to do that? Let's see. I think that's fine. Workshop. Yeah, the issue with the barracks, what is this F? Food? 60 food. $80 wood. I don't have enough wood. Why is it like... Verify in the build menu. When I don't have enough resources, these should be grayed out and disabled so I can't even select them. Right now, it seems like I have 40 wood, but it's still thinking I can select the barracks. In the top resource bar, can you put the delta, like the change? For example, if I'm getting 2 wood a second, that should be displayed to the user so they know. Okay, I think it got confused along the way because now I'm spawning with like 40 wood when the game starts. Doesn't make sense because now I can't even build a town hall. Like, I like how Cursor has a built-in browser, but sometimes like the agent... Is it done? Maybe it's done doing its thing. Why did you change the starting wood to 40? Now I can't even build a town hall, which means the game's not even playable. Yeah, it's like stuck trying to take a snapshot, but I need it to just continue. Hmm. When a building is selected, show some type of indicator that could be just like a border color on the game to know that it's been selected. 50F is food. How do I get food? Okay, I think we need to plan out the game a little bit better. I need you to do an analysis on the game design. Right now, when I place a town hall and a barracks, I'm no longer able to build anything else, and I'm kind of in a stalemate position, right? So I think we should require at least the workshop to be built first so that I have a way to gather wood. And then also is there a structure for gathering food? Right now, I'm not able to build anything that I can see. So add in like a farm or something that can allow me to gain food. Require the workshop before the barracks. Add farm build. Add food gathering to game loop. Or farm render. Alright, that's the last thing I'm going to add in before doing a full refactoring the TypeScript. But while it's running, I can prompt that off, I guess. I need you to go and refactor my code base to use TypeScript instead of vanilla JavaScript. At least kick off a plan for that. All right, let's try this out. You know, I do wonder if not even showing the structures, like in Red Alert, like they don't show unless you can actually build them. But at the same time, it's nice to know what you need. Maybe even showing the dependency graph here would be cool. Anyway, so generator. Yeah, you know, let me try to refactor that real quick. Let's commit what we have, and then I'm going to do the TypeScript migration plan. On cursor. Build this out. I'm not sure if your comment is directed at me or just developers in general. But I work with a ton of senior engineers and they're all using Claude Code. So if your argument is that every coder who's a senior engineer is just bad for using Claude Code to code, I would probably say reevaluate your stance. I don't think you're seeing the light. Hmm. That was a big query. I mean, a big refactoring. If it gets it one shot though, probably it's not that big of a code base. I'm curious why cursor sometimes switches back to auto mode. Like I want it to default to 1.5. It's like almost after I run the plan, it switches back to auto for some reason. Hmm. I haven't really tried Claude Code yet. Still the old copy paste GPT and some completions with Copilot. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely try the new stuff. It's if you're copying and pasting code manually, like I mean, you don't have to use Claude Code. You can use Composer. You can use GLM's pretty good. Minimax just came out. There's like all these great open source cheaper models. The random wood resource change is a perfect example of why AA sucks. I mean, yeah, it does stuff like that, but it's not a big deal. You get used to the models, you can just reprompt them when they change something. You add more context files that really design, like have your game design laid out. The company pays for Claude Code through AWS Bedrock, but it's slow. It's basically unusable. I mean, that's what I use at my work. We have a Bedrock instance that everyone uses. It's not slow for us. I'm using Opus 4.6 on it. It's a little bit slower than the actual like subscription, but I mean, I wouldn't say it's super slow. Is this Express? No, this is just a Vite app. Might have to try to rerun the app. Just okay, so we have generator. I don't know what the generator is. Workshop. How much do I need for the barracks? Yeah, I might even just go here. In the build menu, don't show things if we can't build them. As far as technology wise, like if we haven't unlocked it from the tech tree, don't even show it, filter it out. Great, but I can't click on the town hall now in the build menu. Feel like a little mistake like that, because we're using a less powerful model. So it's just kind of the thing you just assume. Like using a weaker model, you're going to assume it's going to do things wrong. But you have to be okay with just like reprompting it to get it to work. And how long did that take? Let's see, did it actually fix it? No, it didn't fix it. I'm curious. It looks like there's something. Check if something's maybe overlaying on top of the menu, because I can't click on the item. I can't click on the town hall button. So again, prompt it one more time. If it doesn't get it, I would probably kick it over to Gemini 3 Flash. But anyway, while that's running, analyze my code base. I want you to pull out all magic numbers and try to make this as configurable and data-driven as possible. And then also restructure the source directory into a more organized structure for a game. Okay, so again, I cannot click on this thing, but I might switch over to Gemini 3 Flash. This is still an issue. I cannot click on the Town Hall button on the right panel after adding in these filters. Probably debug and fix. And then as that's running the background, I'll just go read this. So move build types to data. Currently building types is hard-coded in Map Manager. Okay. Add unit color to unit types. Or scenes, scene manager input, systems, camera. Okay. UI, scenes, game scene. Types and configs. Seems like a step in the right direction, so little inline console log. Let's see. Build menu container clicked. Yeah, when I click on the Town Hall button, it does not log anything. I've seen these models are really good at logic, but like sometimes for like CSS stuff, they're terrible. And then you do have to go and like inspect, like where is this? Okay, let's just open this up. I feel like the issue is because it keeps like re-rendering it. It keeps printing rendering one item over and over again. And I see the DOM continuously updating on the list of items. I wonder if that's the issue. I'm using Super Whisper. Yeah, well, I mean, Cursor, you can actually point to the DOM elements, and you can have it like dive into the elements to try to debug better. I'm using Super Whisper. I don't mind watching Agentic, but too terrified to use. I'd be curious, what are you terrified about it? Like, what's terrifying of it? There we go. Yeah, so fundamentally, I mean, this game has a problem. Like, you should be required to have a farm and probably a workshop. before you can build anything else. Because if you don't have your wood increasing, it starts to make sense why Warcraft 2 and StarCraft 2 is the way it is. It's like once you start trying to build out a game, you realize, okay, the game is broken because there's no way to gather resources. So then you have to have some type of generic way to gather the resource using a worker that can always come back to your town hall. And then the workshop and other things are just like to make it gather faster. But you don't realize why the games are the way they are until you start trying to build it. And you're like, okay, this makes sense because otherwise, like, you're stuck. All right, let me do this refactoring. Most of these tools like Claude Code and stuff, they run in like a sandbox, in a sense. They have access to anything on your computer, but typically if you don't run them in dangerous mode, they prompt you before every file change. And then you can start slowly giving it more permission to like modify files that exist in a particular directory, and that's it. That's what I've seen with Codex and Claude Code and even Cursor. It's like they have access to all the code in your project. And, they can run bash commands if you allow them to. Like it can run like a kill command and start killing random things in your machine. I have never seen it do anything rogue. Now, granted, if you let this run like all night and you're not really paying attention to what it's doing, it could probably do something with like a prompt injection. But if you're very cautious or if you're very concerned about these agents, I mean, there's ways to run these in sandboxes. So you can have like a hosted sandbox that has Claude Code running on it. So it's just your code base running, isolated from your actual computer, just to kind of reduce the risk there. Yeah. While that's running, I might actually have it build out like workers. Can you add random tree resources around the map that take up the tile and also block structures from being built in that tile? And then I want you to add a worker that will automatically go to the closest tree and start chopping it and gather wood and bring it back to the town hall to collect the wood. Use A star for having it do the pathfinding. Yeah, we're basically building Warcraft at this point. Yeah, I guess while this is running, we can like go through the plan for the tree and worker AI. So we have pathfinding system, a unit manager, and a tree manager. Tree data, ground, okay. Worker AI flow. Chopping, path to town hall, deposit wood, idle, path to adjacent tree. Got some type of state management, okay. Hmm. Yo, how big is this file? Why is it taking so long to write it? Only like 500 lines of code. Struggling. Right, that's done. It all still kind of work. All right, so quick little peek at the code changes. Now we have core folder, scenes, systems, UI. So a little bit more clean. And then a data directory over here. So let me just commit that. All right, let's do the trees and the worker AI. Yeah, I think I don't know if I prompted it. Like, where do you build the workers from? I might need to say like, when a town hall is placed, automatically create 2 workers, and then allow building more workers from the town hall. Just queue that one up. I feel like we're gonna need it anyway if it doesn't already have it. Are these the workers? Oh no, those are the trees. The heck? Definitely messed that up. It doesn't seem like the trees and the workers are on the same map. Can you verify that we're rendering them on the same like map in terms of the camera? I don't know how to explain that, but definitely seems like they're being rendered on 2 separate layers. The markdown for instructions, is that what that is? Yeah, I mean, there's like a plan mode with most of these things. So like you can first have a simple prompt of a feature you want added or a bug you want fixed, and you can switch it to a plan mode, which generates a markdown file that has like more descriptions of like what files may need to be investigated, what needs to be changed. And then you can modify that plan. So you can do like multiple iterations on the plan to try to make the plan perfect, and then you run it. I have found that just like making a plan, running it, and then coming back and doing iterative fixes on it is a much better experience. Assuming that you don't trust the AI output, right? Like you just assume that it's going to break and you have to kind of iterate on it a couple times. And then eventually with the, enough prompting, you will get it working. Okay, like right now, the simple little layer issue, now that's fixed. Is my wood going up when he collects? Yeah, so we have a worker now. Can I build a worker though? That doesn't seem like it's working. But what we could do, when I click build worker from the town hall, nothing seems to be created. Can you debug and fix that? Can you put a bar above the tree to show how much of its capacity is left before it's completely chopped down? And then also put a capacity above the worker so we know when their inventory is filling up. The worker should only be able to do like 5 wood per trip. I don't know if I kicked that off. Composer, okay. This doesn't seem like a composer thing. I feel like I had this set to a different model. Yeah, I don't know, Yanni. I definitely tried out. Definitely try out agentic coding at least. You can build out a simple like web application with it and see how it does, but What is it doing? Okay, you know, stop. I don't know what you're doing. But I feel like it's not... When I click build worker from the town hall modal, no worker is displayed and my food is not decremented like it should be. Verify this is properly working. Yeah, I really didn't need you to load up a browser to do this, but okay. Display indicators over the tree that show how much wood they have left before they're fully chopped down. Display indicators over the worker that fills up as they collect resources. They should only have a max carrying capacity of 5, and the tree should have a max of 50. Okay, I'm going to stop this one. It's Composer is having trouble with debugging this, so I'm just going to put this here. I'm going to swap it to Codex. When I click on build worker, it doesn't work. Fix it. Like, Composer or Cursor keeps wanting to load up the browser and take screenshots and try to manually click stuff. It's like, I don't need you to do that. I know exactly where in the UI the issue is, and I know what component it is. Move the indicator up. It's being occluded by the tree. I don't know why I said I'm going to. As the worker collects wood, I should see this indicator slowly increment. It seems like it sits there until it gets the full 5 wood, and then the bar fully fills up. Yeah, honestly, I would rather turn off this browser tab thing in Cursor. I think it actually causes more issues than not. Like, these agents, I do not want them to automatically start using the browser. It just doesn't seem like it does a good job. But now, I can build workers. Now, I think we should also track each tree should track if it has a worker already attached to it. And if so, then it should be disabled for other workers to A-star algorithm to it. So like when a worker's trying to find a resource to gather from it, don't go to something that's already being gathered. Might even plan mode this one. Oh no, I don't want to use codecs. This is a composer. All right, that's my last prompt. I'm going to go ahead and just end the stream after this one. But I would probably say, I mean, we've been coding for like an hour and 40 minutes. My workflow, especially on side projects and like games, I just added a bunch of features, rapidly prototype a solution, and then at some point I start looking through the code and I realize, okay, a little ugly, needs to be cleaned up. And that's when I go to another chat panel, an agent, and I say, hey, like analyze my code base, find ways I can clean this up. Might even have context files that describe the ways I would clean up the code, or like I would let it do an initial cleanup, and then I'd say, hey, describe the things that you changed and document that in a markdown file so I can use it in the future. But yeah, I mean, I would say after X amount of lines of changes or X amount of features, you should always do a couple of refactoring pass-throughs, or you could do it after every single feature. Just like, you know, go through my code, check it for security issues, check it for performance issues, make it clean. But it's going to slow down your iteration speed because sometimes you're going to add stuff that's like not perfect and you want to throw it away. And so like, don't spend all this extra time refactoring code until you know that it's like pretty good. And then even at work, like you'll come back through and say, okay, now I need you to add like unit tests or integration tests over everything you added in because I verified it's good. It meets the acceptance criteria of the user story, that type of thing. Let's see what this is doing. So now workers should not compete for the same tree, so they'll go off and find their own trees. I would say keeping track of the wood per second would be good. Okay, sorry, this is my last prompt. I need you to also show the wood per second so that like based on if a worker currently has a tree targeted and it's like chopping, so we have a good estimate of like how much wood per second that we're getting. I need you to reanalyze how we're tracking the wood per second. I just need you to do every second, do a check to see what the wood used to be versus what it is now, do a delta, and that's what you should display in the woods per second. So that if all my workers or my lumber mill burn or get removed, that would automatically update to reflect what is the actual change. And also do this for the food as well. Why did it do that? Okay, that's my sign. That was probably my last prompt. So I'm going to go ahead and just commit this. For some reason, Super Whisper sometimes just like does not paste in what I just said. So yeah, nice little prototype here. Obviously, if this was actually like hooked into a nice tile sheet, it wouldn't look like trash. Like just the fact that I could have these trees be rendered out here. And then the workers, I could be using these little samurai people or just any of these people. And then the game would actually feel like a real game. Right now it feels like a glorified prototype. But adding in that little polish can actually make it seem a lot more engaging. So maybe off stream I'll come through here and just add in some sprites so it looks a little bit interesting. These are Creative Commons 0, so like I can use these. But these look pretty nice. Is this a StarCraft? I mean, at this point, it's kind of like Warcraft or like Age of Empires. I wanted to do like a base building survival game, not really dive into the combat system or like the whole like commanding with RTS. I wanted to kind of be like an idle base building game where you focus on building structures and building units and they kind of go off and do their thing. But we'll see. Do multiple agents taking screenshots step on each other? Potentially, yeah. I mean, agents can step on each other. But no nukes. Anyway, cool. Thanks for joining in. I'll try to make more videos soon. Maybe try to stream more, but hey, tokens to burn, Cody. Oh, I got a lot of tokens to burn. But yeah, probably just keep on doing game development on this channel for a little bit. I just find it more enjoyable than the other stuff, so